Okay, for the recording, welcome back. We are the TongLen practice course, session 2. This is November 9th, 2025. We'll do our usual opening prayers and go right into the meditation. And we'll do a shorter preliminaries than we did last class, but we'll do the similar TongLen on ourselves. But I think we'll have time to do maybe two versions. So just so you know what's coming up. So let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you, gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from you, them, encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Studying karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow this wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, turn your mind back to your precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet, to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please, teach me, help me, show me. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands. And we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. So bring your attention back to your breath. Turn on your focus, your clarity, your intensity. Keep checking and adjusting, trying to find that sweet spot. The mind ready to meditate. Now shift the object of focus to your precious holy being before you. Feel your reliance upon them. Think of just one of their good qualities that you admire so much you aspire to achieve it. And then make a mental prostration to honor them for that. Think of how they've helped you already and how devoted they are to helping you all the way to reaching your goal, and feel your gratitude. So that you want to offer them something. And what they like best is to hear something from your practice. Tell them some special effort that you made because of something they had taught you. See how happy they are to receive that verbal gift. And we feel so safe with them that we can clean our heart of some negativity, something recent that we did or said or thought that we regret having in there those seeds. Apply your 4 powers. Tell them of the situation. Tell them what you understand of karma and emptiness to grow your refuge and your regret. Then go on to establish a power of restraint and an antidote in either order you wish. I'll give us 2 minutes. And fill that space with rejoicing. Tell them of some goodness or kindness you saw someone else do. Tell them another kindness that you yourself did. Tell them of some goodness about someone that you have a problem with. Find something good. Tell that precious being. See how happy they are. Seeing you, hearing you, tell them about goodnesses. They want us to grow those seeds, water those seeds. Then ask them to please stay close. Ask the Dharma people around you to please stay close. Ask that holy being to please continue to bring you teachings, formal ones and the everyday ones that we get through our interaction with others. Ask them to help you be aware that those challenges are your holy angel helping. They are there to help you make your choices of response. Open yourself up to receive from them. Open yourself up to changing yourself. Give yourself permission. And dedicate what we've done just so far to learning this TongLen practice, learning about how it works and how it doesn't, so that it can become an effective tool for helping to stop distress and give happiness. And let go the preliminaries as the object of focus. Do a body scan to see if you need to shift and adjust. If you do, now's the time. And settle back in. Check your posture. Sits bones solid on your seat. Lower tummy pulled in just a bit to send that energy rising. Raising your sternum, raising your crown, tucking your chin. Scan back down the outside, inviting everything to relax. Forehead, scalp, face, neck and shoulders, arms and hands. Upper torso, front and back. lower torso, front and back. Hips, thighs, knees, calves, feet, toes. Then turn and come back up as if you're coming up the inside, just rising to come back to that safe sensation at your nostrils. To use the breath again to trigger the mind into deepening concentration mode. Now bring to mind your own self sometime tomorrow where you anticipate having some difficulty. Settle on one. And now imagine this you is invisibly in front of tomorrow's you. Aware of their distress very specifically. Get it identified. The situation, who or what that you is blaming. How they feel. How that feeling is propelling an action. You there with them can see it all before their reaction actually happens. Feel in this you's heart. No, no, don't do it, me. I will help you. And by the power of your concentration, gather all that black, gooey stuff that's inside them related to this event, these feelings, these beliefs, this anticipated action. By the power of your concentration, that outgoing stuff is turning and gathering into the middle of tomorrow you's chest. This you looks deeply into all the areas of that you's body, looking for any residual, drawing it all. Now looking at that ball of black goo, you know that it's all the different parts of this distress and the misunderstanding about it. And in that goo is also karmic seeds for more of the same from past behaviors, past habitual reactions. Focusing deeply on that black ball of goo, this you makes that strong determination. I am going to take this away. I am going to take it and destroy it. And with that determination, you shift your focus to your this you's exhales, invisible you in front of tomorrow's you. This ribbon of your exhale is going towards them. A little bit closer with each exhale. Strengthening your resolve to take it no matter what. Your exhale reaches their face. Their inhale pulls it in. Your exhale pushes it. See it go in and down. And down and hook into that black ball of goo. Imagine tugging at it a little bit to make sure it's hooked well. And then make the determination again. I am going to take this away from you, tomorrow's me. And with that determination, you shift your focus to your inhales. Like a crane machine, you're cranking that black ball of goo up out of them. Each inhale, it goes up a little ways. A little more, a little more. Until it's smoothly rising with each inhale. Coming around and out their nostrils. Towards this you, there in front of them, invisible. Bringing that black ball of goo of their distress and seeds for more. Towards you, bring it to hover just below your this you's nostrils. Remind yourself what's in that goo. The situation, the distress, the feelings, the blaming. that action that was gonna happen. Get it clearly identified. And all the seeds for more of that. Now let that stay, waiting, and turn your mind's eye into your own now use middle of your chest. And you see there that tiny little flame, the flame of our belief in things having their own natures, our belief that there's a me independent of seeds ripening, our belief that that me is most important to be taken care of, our me that misunderstands. And recognize this tiny little flame. It's the underlying cause of all that distress. And make the determination when that black ball of goo touches that tiny little flame, they will destroy each other. And then set yourself up with a gentle, nice long exhale, so that on your inhale, you'll draw that black goo up, in, and down, slowing it down as it meets the flame so you can see it happen. The flash, the disappear, the wisp of smoke, and then the gone, the absence. So get yourself prepared. I'll use a few breaths to let you do that. And then when you're ready, that nice long exhale followed by the inhale. And do it. And then go right back to breathing normally. Gazing at that absence of the flame and absence of the black goo. Gone. And turn your focus back on your tomorrow use state. See them so relieved. They don't know what happened. They feel relaxed. They feel able to make a wiser choice of their reaction. The situation is maybe still happening, but they have no distress about it. They know exactly how to handle it. They even feel a little bit happy. So let this you be happy with the tomorrow's you relief. And then shift and think of you further in the future, maybe later into the week or later into the month. Find some circumstance you anticipate being in that will cause some kind of distress, something different. When you find it, see that future you in or approaching that situation. Invisible you is right there with them. Seeing the situation, feeling their distress, feeling what they're thinking about the situation, knowing how the impulse to act. And this you feels, no, no, don't do it. And you turn on your TongLen. Focus on the blackness inside them. Gather it. Be clear what the mental afflictions are. Check to make sure you have it all gathered. Recall that all the seeds for more of that same distress are in there as well. Say to that you, I will take this from you. And start your focus on the exhale. Sending it out. Feeling your determination to help them. The exhale gets to them. Goes in. down, hooking into that black ball of this distress. And then shifting to the crane, shifting to your inhale, drawing that black ball up. Up, around, and out, coming out of their nostrils, slowly being pulled towards this you. Until you have it hovering underneath your nostrils. Again, identify clearly what's in that black ball. When you have that clear, let it sit there for a moment while you look down into this you's chest. And doggone it, there's that little flame again. My belief in self-existence, my self-cherishing, my self-grasping, the source of all this distress. I will use that ball of goo to destroy this flame of ignorance. And I will use the flame of ignorance to destroy this ball of goo. So set yourself up. And when you're ready, that nice long exhale. And do it. Go back to breathing normally. Rest in the freedom, the absence of the black ball, the little flame. And then turn your attention back to that you, that other you. See what relief they feel. Their confidence in the situation to respond with kindness. Their sense of freedom from something, maybe they don't even know what. They feel so much better, so much more confident. They're eager to resolve this situation. And so this you enjoys there, this state of mind, state of heart, wanting to be kind. It feels so good to have helped them in this way. Now come back to your this you now, recalling that precious holy being who's there with you, who is there with you. Think of the goodness that you've just done, taking some suffering out of the world for someone. See how happy they are with you. Dedicate what we've done to all beings being free of that kind of distress, once and for all. See your precious being smile. Then bring your attention back to your own body on your this chair, in your this room, in this class. And when you're ready, open your eyes, take a stretch, get refreshed. How do you feel? It's such a simple practice, isn't it? I mean, I know you all know TongLen already, but even if we were learning it brand new, it's like, wow, is that all I have to do? No, there's the other half, the giving part. But it's just as simple. But probably the hardest part is really getting clear. What is that distress that I'm taking from them? We can tend to just go, oh, they're angry and they're blaming the boss, and I'll just suck that from them. And that's fine. But as we get good at this practice, we can get into the real details. You know, their feelings are hurt because they're being blamed for something, because their brother always blamed them for something. So it's triggering this upset with the brother, even though, you know, you haven't seen the brother in a long time. Like, you'll know stuff about your future you's distress that's being triggered by that outer event. You'll know more than you would somebody else, of course. And why not use that to your advantage and include that in the black stuff that you gather? And then always remember, and all the seeds for more of that to help grow the size of what we're doing. And then, you know, up it comes and out. I don't know why you don't just do it in one long stream, one long inhale or exhale. They say take 10 breaths or so to gather it, 10 breaths or so to bring it. I think it has to do with training our meditative concentration. So when you're on your cushion, do the whole breathing thing slowly. When you're out, you know, driving by somebody and you just get a glimpse out of the corner of your eye and you TongLen, you just sniff it in, destroy it, sniff out the happiness. That's all the time you've got. And it works that way too. But on cushion, take your time take your time to see the ball go in, the little flame is there, gone. So get a clear image of that and that feeling of, wow, it's really gone. And don't let your mind go, no, it's not. It was just my imagination. Just shut up. It's gone. You know, how it's going to show up later doesn't matter. We just destroyed it with conviction. Then take the time to look back at them. What just happened? I feel so much better. Like I know what to do now. Wow, cool. You know, they don't, where did it come from? Who cares? Right? They feel better. All right. Any questions, unclarities about what we've got so far? We're just doing the taking for a while. How far in your future you can go, you go. Far as you want. Probably more closer future use would be more useful because they'll be more real than trying to imagine some distress you're going to have when you're 75 years old and you're not close to it yet. It's hard to really know what it's going to be. So you can do that, but probably better to stay a few days to a week to a month. You know, if the holidays are stressful for you, go forward enough to deal with holiday you. Stressed out, you can go that far. Okay. Need a break? Let's take a break because otherwise we'll just go a few minutes and then take a break. Let's take it now. Okay, are we back? So something I want to share. If ever I'm online at class start time and there's nobody else on with me, I will shut the Zoom off. Like I keep my finger on the button. It will go off. And you will need to get that class from someplace else. I won't do a makeup. So take that as a warning. It got close in this class. So I'm just sharing. So now, where does TongLen fit in the Lam Rim?
Are we doing it to ourselves or are we doing it to other people?
I'm asking. I'm really asking. Where does it fit?
Bodhicitta.
Growing our bodhicitta. Renunciation, bodhicitta, correct worldview. Which bodhicitta? The heart opening bodhicitta or the direct perception of emptiness bodhicitta?
First, heart opening, and after it, anyway, lead you to direct perception.
Yeah, good. You have to have the heart opening before you see emptiness directly in order to
Yes.
see emptiness directly? No. You can see emptiness directly without any bodhicitta, without any
Yes, sure.
compassion, right? Is it very
Yes,
likely? Probably not. But those two are not cause and effect, not in either direction. But they are related, aren't they? In the sense that heart opening bodhicitta, deceptive bodhicitta, wait, it's not deceptive, it's the real thing. But no, wait, it's the appearing thing versus the absence of it. So it has to be deceptive. It's not deceptive. It happens in deceptive reality. So that bodhicitta is growing our sense of caring for others more and more deeply. And so we want to help them. But all the worldly ways we try just fall short. So what's the point? It's wanting to help, trying to help in worldly ways with our growing understanding of why the worldly ways can't help in the way that we expect them to. And so therefore actually could help. If our seeds, their seeds ripen for the worldly way to help, the worldly way will help. But it wasn't the worldly way that did it. It was the seeds ripening that made the worldly way work when it does. Because in it, from it, it doesn't. Ever. Because there's no such thing as a worldly way that's in it, from it, that can do anything. Right? We've all trained in that. So it shouldn't be too hard. So because we care for others, we try to help in worldly ways with a mind as imbued with our two bodhicittas, the wisdom one and the heart-opening one, so that the goodness we make by trying to help grows our intellectual understanding of emptiness and karma, so that we can do our worldly caring with greater wisdom, to grow that wisdom on our meditation cushion to take us to that direct perception of emptiness. And that as our caring increases, our mind imbued with bodhicitta increases, because our caring is based on understanding that the only way I can really help somebody stop their suffering is to reach my own enlightenment as quickly as possible. Because then I will know directly, I will be experiencing directly what it is they need to give up and take up. And my emanations will be there, doing that for them, whether they see it that way or not. So we're feeding, both bodhicittas are feeding each other. So are they two different bodhicittas? Are they one, right? Different conversation. But they feed each other. And TongLen practice is a method of feeding that feeding, right? Growing that sequence into this upward spiral that will take us to the ripening of the seeds of those realizations that put us onto the conveyor belt to the end of all suffering for everybody. A long conveyor belt, but still, once you're on it, there isn't much you can do to fall off. It is still theoretically possible, but not likely. Once we're there with bodhicitta, a mind imbued with bodhicitta. All right. So there are two ways to get bodhicitta, to grow our bodhicitta. The bodhicitta being that deep sense of personal responsibility for getting enlightened so that I can help anybody, including myself, in that ultimate way. Right? So it's not just about loving somebody, wanting their happiness. It's, I want them to reach nirvana or Buddhahood, right? Whatever they feel is their highest possibility, I want to help them do it. That's beyond bodhicitta, I want you to be happy. I want you to be ultimately happy, which means forever, ultimately happy. All right. So the kindnesses that we do with our worldly ways are important to do. We can't just say, well, they don't work, they fall short, so I don't need to do any of them. We use them. We use those kindnesses, okay, to help us get onto that conveyor belt. So traditionally, there are two methods for growing our bodhicitta. One method is called the 7-step cause and effect method, of which there are 8 steps. The first being the preliminary of bringing our heart to a state of equanimity towards all beings so that we won't leave a single one out as we are growing our bodhicitta towards others. The equanimity meaning I want your happiness whether I like you or not, whether you are pleasant or not. I want you to be happy, and I'm willing to do what I can to help you be happy, whether I like you or not. Do you see how hard it is? Like it gets pretty easy to grow our bodhicitta for those people that we love. And then the struggle is sometimes the people that we love still do mean things, and then we have to struggle to still love them enough to keep up our goodness. But what about to that mean neighbor who's never been nice to anybody? Do they deserve the same kind of care and concern that you show to your favorite Uncle Mac? Or to the caring concern that you show for your own self? Like, it's not easy to really do this. We start in little pieces, of course, but ultimately what we're saying when we say, I want to reach Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings, is like, every worm, every rattlesnake, every mosquito, every, I don't know, think of the ugliest, awfulest, meanest thing you could come across. Them too. Like, I want to have the heart that just reaches out and hugs them, whether they like it or not. That's what it means to want to become Buddha, regardless. So then that 7-step cause and effect, once we have this, I mean, everybody, state of mind, that's when we start the 7 steps of how to think about those others in a stepwise fashion that leads us through these different states of heart, where we end up with the realization of the personal responsibility, not just the emotional realization of the personal responsibility, but the intellectual understanding of the personal responsibility for the end of all their suffering, right? Any suffering I can see in my world is my seeds. Yes, they have their own seeds too, but until I'm omniscient, I don't know what their seeds are. I think I do, because I see what suffering they're having, but anything I perceive is coming from me. So ultimately, we really are personally responsible. But you don't lay that on brand new students. Anna, I hope you are not a brand new student. If you do, please reach out to me, because that's too big a message at first. But in the end, if there's any suffering that we can't change, what's the use of trying to change any of it? Thank you. And if there is sufferings that we can change, well, then let's do it. Let's be willing to take it on from everybody, every being. Nice. So 7-step cause and effect. You know it. We go to all those beings. They are all my mother from the past. My mother took care of me. I owe them. I want to repay them. And then we do the love thing and the compassion thing. And then we recognize, oh my gosh, nothing I do out of my love or my compassion really works until I'm omniscient. And that's the personal responsibility to the actual bodhicitta, is when it's like, oh, I've got to be Buddha in order to really help anybody, right? Growing our bodhicitta. The second method of growing our bodhicitta is the method called Daksha Nyamje. Again, you've probably all heard this already, but try not to let your mind go, yeah, I know it, right? Try to let yourself hear it again. Beginner's mind, right? Let's hear it again for the first time. Can't do that, but we can pretend. Somehow I made you guys big. Can you still see the screen share?
Yeah.
Ha. I can't, but I know it's on it. So TongLen, Dakshen Yamje. Do you see it? Dakshen means Dak is self, Shen is other. Nyamje means compassion, we're going to see. But it's a contracted form for we usually say exchanging self and others, growing our bodhicitta through this method of exchanging self and others. TongLen is a subset of that practice of exchanging self and others. Anybody here take the death meditation practice module? I know Joanna has. Claire, you've done it too. It's so beautiful. Yeah, Mike's done it too. It's so beautiful. It has this secret twist at the end. I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't taken it, but it has to do with this practice. that when you reach that place of deep realization of the three truths about our own impermanence, we can skip grades and go right into growing our bodhicitta by way of this practice. So hopefully someday you get to do your death meditation module. It's so exquisite. So of the three principal paths, renunciation comes first. Because of our renunciation, we go looking for a teacher. We find a teacher. They tell us, get the essence of your life, right? We try to do that. Part of that essence is recognizing our impermanence. Egads, I'm not sure how long I have. And then what happens next? I don't know. That's scary. Who can help me? Refuge. Right? All of that is in the renunciation part. And then at some point, our renunciation turns on to other beings. It's like, whoa, I'm in this predicament. Gosh, I realize everybody is. And at least I've met teachings that can explain it and tell me what to do about it. It doesn't look like they have. Oh, my heart goes out to them. I wish I could help them. I wish they could know what I know, right? I wish. That's turning on the bodhicitta. Then as our sense of urgency for ourselves and others grows, and our wisdom grows, that we're starting to really see how suffering is really a big mistake. It's so unnecessary. That our wisdom is growing. And we're using the power of our renunciation, our bodhicitta, to grow our wisdom. And we're using our wisdom to reinforce our renunciation, to grow our bodhicitta, right? And we get this threefold, what would you call it? Like feeding each other to deepen our practice. So TongLen is part of the growing the heart opening bodhicitta and requires a certain amount of the wisdom bodhicitta for it to be as effective as we want it to be. To really even consider doing a TongLen practice, we need to understand something about emptiness and karma, or it would be crazy to want to take somebody's pain or sickness and give them happiness. If we didn't understand karma and emptiness at all, and somebody said, here, sit down, let's do this practice. You suck their cancer out of you, them into you. And then you give them all your happiness and all your money and your house. You know, what's somebody going to say to you? See ya, you do it, right? I'm out of here. There's no reason to do TongLen until we understand the empty nature of the suffering and the happiness, and of ourselves as well. So technically, doing TongLen is a big time emptiness experiment and gives us a window of going into that direct perception. If you think about it, when you take that black ball and you take all the ignorance and you like blast it into light and it disappears and gone, theoretically, if our mind is at the level, the platform where it could go into the direct perception, it could happen. No, don't sell yourself short. Give yourself time for it to get triggered before you turn and send out the goodness once we get there. Okay. So induction Yum-J. I think I can get rid of my screen share. That's all that's on it, right? Is Dakshin Yum. Oh no, Ningjae and Maitri is on there too. I'll come back. All right, now I'm here again, right, for you? Okay. So Dakshin Yamje practice has 3 levels. The first level is traditionally taught to the very young monks when they first get to the monastery. You know, they're 7 years old when they first go. And what they get taught is that when a visitor comes to the monastery, they are probably a sponsor or a potential sponsor. And so everybody's job is to treat them really nicely, right? Sounds self-serving, right? Of course we want to treat them nicely because maybe they'll become a sponsor or maybe they'll give us more. But what they teach these youngsters is that what you do is watch that visitor really carefully and watch where their eyes go. Because where our eyes go indicates what we're interested in, what we want. So Geshe-la describes, you go visit the temple, you go into the kitchen. I guess that's where everybody goes first. And the whoever is there, right, helping you, they're going to watch your eyes. And do your eyes keep going to the fruit bowl? Or do they go to the teapot? Or do they go to the plate of cookies? Or do they go to the cat? And the one who's watching, like, next thing you know, like they've got an apple cut up and they're offering it to you. And you think, wow, they must be psychic. When no, they're just trained to pay attention and to deduce, right? Maybe they're wrong. Maybe what you really wanted was the orange. Yeah. Or maybe you really did want the cat. You just were attracted. Maybe they're not always 100%. But imagine what it would feel like as you, the visitor, if you're just chatting, with them, and all of a sudden they hand you like what you wanted and you didn't even say, and you weren't gonna say, right? Because it would be impolite. Hey, can I have an apple? They just offer it to you. Or suppose they offer you a cup of tea, and then maybe they go further. Do you like milk in your tea? And then, yes. And then suppose you come back a couple of months later, and the same kid's in the kitchen. He'll serve you tea with milk in it because they're trained to care enough to remember what you liked the time before. Now maybe you say, oh, I wasn't in the mood for milk this time, but the fact that they remembered and tried is the point here. Growing bodhicitta is about caring enough to pay enough attention to want to try to make their life a little easier, a little bit happier, give them a little bit of, legal, moral pleasure at the moment without even asking them necessarily. Now, of course, it's fine to ask, but imagine what it's like, to be the one who's watching and then get it right and how astounded. It's like, wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is planting seeds for us to be what anyone is going to need, not just provide it for them, but to become that. So even without knowing anything about all of that, the little kids are trained in caring enough to pay close attention. And, why not? It can be really, really helpful. So that's step number 1. I have a story sort of about that. I was one of 5 kids. And, mom knew what each of us kids' favorite dinner was. And so when we were in college, David and I would would go back to my home. It was an hour or two's drive, one weekend a month, and we'd just go visit, my parents. And we'd get there Friday afternoon in time for dinner, and we'd always have pot roast and vegetables. And after 3 or 4 cycles of that, David asked my mom, Mrs. Pocock, do you have a recipe rotation that you always do that we end up landing on pot roast and vegetables? I like it, don't get me wrong, and she said, no, like I serve that because that's Sue's favorite. I was Sue back then. That's Sue's favorite. And I thought to myself, actually, that's not my favorite. I do like it, but it's not my favorite. But it was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that she was doing that on purpose, right? Trying to please me, even though it wasn't, right? It wasn't my favorite. She had some, but the point is, like, we can do that kind of thing. She didn't call me up on Thursday night. What would you like for dinner? I'll fix it for you. She just tried to make it my fave. So I didn't tell her it wasn't my fave. But like that. So second version. In this one, the way Master Shantideva describes it is that you are with another person. And for this level of Dakshin Yamje, you imagine that you can be inside them experiencing you. And so you're able to know how they want to experience you. And then when you're back in you try to do that. So you put yourself in them and you try to assess, what does Joanna want Sarani to say or do right now? And we just ask the question and listen for what comes. And then when you get this answer, you come back out, you be you, and you go, wow, Joanna, I'm so impressed you're up so early in the morning for this class. I'm so grateful to you. And it turns out that for some reason, Joanna needed that little pat on the back. And she feels like, wow, Sarani really knows me. And it gives her a little heart pop, we call it. Which, Sarani doesn't want to do that so that Joanna likes Sarani better, although I hope that she does. We're doing it to give Joanna a little moment of somebody cared enough to try and give what might be a little bit of pleasure right now. And we did it without asking, what is it you'd like me to say? I mean, does anybody ever really say that? And yet we tend to think, oh, I think I know what she wants me to say. But it's not from trying to assess, how will I impact her? How can I know, right, what she really wants right now? Can we know? No, not until we're omniscient. But do you see the seeds we're planting by trying? The ability to know. And Geshe-la says, you'll be surprised at how accurate your intuition becomes as you try to do this practice, right? Be aware of how they would want you, right? I'm in the other person, my me is out here. Get some sense of awareness of how can this me benefit? And then come out and try it on for size. We'll be wrong sometimes, but we'll be surprised at how spontaneously we can end up being for them exactly what they needed at the moment. No, maybe you're aware they just need a hug right now. you know? So it's the second one, putting yourself in them, trying to be aware of your impact on them with the motivation to do it in a way that is exactly what they want or need at that moment. Legal, moral, right, within our vows. I need to stop there a minute. I'm sorry, I'm having GI tract problems. I need to go to the toilet. So I'm going to pause the recording. Isn't limited to how we interact with them verbally, but you know, what radio station you put on. My favorite's jazz, theirs rock and roll. I'll just find some jazz they might like, right? No, put on their rock and roll, whether you like it or not, right? Dedicating to being what will make them happy. Same thing with what movie to watch. Ooh, boy, I bump up against that one. What restaurant to go to. You know, and then you get two people doing this practice together. And it's like, no, let's go to Chinese. No, let's go to Mexican. And it's like, well, somebody's got to make the decision. I suppose you flip a coin then. Putting the others' wants and needs ahead of our own, because that's where our own happiness actually comes from, right? We do that enough. That's not right. We do that. And before too long, when we ask the other person, you know, where would you like to go to dinner? They say Chinese, you know, not because they're necessarily tonglening you or bodhiciting you, but it just so happens that they're in the mood for Chinese and that's your favorite. Right? And it just happens because of karmic seeds. From having intentionally planted the seeds for somebody else's favorite, pretty soon you can't get away from always somebody else's choice is what your favorite is. And that's fine. You don't have to say, you don't really want Chinese, do you? You really want Mexican food. You're not doing that just for me, are you? Right? Just like, okay, great, fine. It does happen eventually, soon. All right, third level of exchanging self and others. This one has to do with not so much exchanging our wants and needs for somebody else's wants and needs in order to plant the seeds for everybody's wants and needs to be taken care of. This third level has to do with rethinking the boundary of between me and the other. So, you know, we think we end at the edge of our body, and they end at the edge of their body, and I'm me and they're them. And yes, it's sweet when we can interact in a way that makes us both happy. And it's sweet when I put them first in what my choices are, genuinely wanting their happiness. But those both other levels, watching for what they want, caring enough, and putting myself in them and deciding, they're still based on you're you, I'm me. I'm just trying hard to care more about you than I did before. This one is about planting the seeds for dissolving the boundaries between self and other. And, you know, ultimately, the seeds for this version of growing our bodhicitta are like subtle and powerful, hugely powerful for building your Buddha you in Buddha paradise, emanating even for planting our ability to understand more deeply what those words are trying to convey. This exchanging self and others, which really isn't exchanging, it's expanding self to include others practice. Where Geshe-la calls it, you take this rope that's usually between us, and you take that rope and you put it around both of you and you tie it so that now your identity is me that has 2 heads, 4 arms, 2 legs, 2 mouths, and this new me naturally takes care of both mouths, all the feet, all the arms. And our ignorance and subsequent selfishness balks at that, right? And don't feel bad. Don't think you're lesser if you're wait, that's not possible. I mean, maybe I can do it with one person for the first 18 or 20 years of their life, right, moms? No, you do this when you have your tiny infant. And then true to form, infant grows, they separate, right? They get more and more separate. Mom's love never diminishes, but they go their way, and you're not responsible for their shoes and their meals anymore at some point. But while you were, it's incredible seeds, actually, to plant that version of expanding self to include other for the time that it lasts. Not all of us get the opportunity to do that. It's not the only way to do it. And we already expand ourselves to include other in the sense of some of our material things even. So, you finally get that brand new car and you park it at the mall parking lot. And when you come out, you see every car that you pass has been vandalized. And you think, oh man, that's really too bad. But then you think, they better not have done that to my car. Right? It's like suddenly my car is an extension of me. And I'm already upset about my car from seeing everybody else's car hit. I don't even know if my car has been hit yet. But because it's an extension of me, I'm already insulted. Right? We do it. We do it with our stuff. Master Shantideva points that out, and he says, and so see, we can do it with our people, even when they are adult people, because we showed ourselves that we could do it when they were baby people, right? We do it with our pets. We do it with our material things. So to say, no, I can't be personally responsible for my neighbor's shoes and my neighbor's meals. Like I will never get anything done. I've got, I don't know, 10 neighbors, close enough. Does that mean every dinner, every breakfast, I should be out there feeding them? Like it's not possible. And in our self-existent world, it's not possible. In a world of emptiness and karma, there's nothing that's not possible. Does that mean we have to make the seeds by feeding everybody to make it happen? No. We learn how to expand our sense of self to include others in any way, shape, or form that we can wrap our mind around. It's different than saying, I'll put me inside you and care how I interact with you. It's like, wow, I really want to be for you what you need right now. And until I'm total Buddha, I don't know what that is. But I'm going to be available to help out. And we've all had those experiences where, and we call it synchronicity, right? You just happen to be there when the person gets the phone call that somebody they've loved has, I don't know, worst case scenario, has died. And you happen to be the one there. And you just envelop them in this big hug and this big burst of love and wisdom and let them cry on your shoulder. And you have time. Right? And it's like anybody else would have been, oh, we're so sorry, bye. But you could hold that space for them, that terminology. Or you happen to be, in our community, everybody has those little golf carts. And there are some days that I'm out, it's extra hot, I'm extra tired. And along comes some friend and they stop and say, Sereni, you want to ride? It's like, oh my gosh, I dropped from heaven a ride. Yes, thank you so much. Those kinds of things, just you meet the need of somebody else or somebody else meets your need without planning it out, without figuring it out, right? These exchanging self and other state of mind helps grow those experiences. No, Geshe-la is saying those are all Diamond Way experiences. Those are angel experiences. Either you're being the angel for somebody else or they're being it for you in that moment. They're all goodnesses. So this idea of I'm going to put the rope around whoever I'm with, whenever I'm with them, and feel personally responsible for them at that moment is growing these seeds to help us reach that Halaksam Namdak, the personal responsibility that leads to, well, in order to take that personal responsibility, I need to become Buddha. Right? Those two steps are like dominoes going. We can want to take personal responsibility, but we can't actually do it until we are omniscient. We can't get omniscient without wanting to take personal responsibility, because our kindness won't go big enough without the understanding the emptiness side of things that makes the personal responsibility possible. Not just possible, but actual. Right? When we first learn it, it's like, oh, possible. But as our wisdom grows, it's like, oh, no, necessary. So again, Master Shantideva, he gives us various examples. The car one, he doesn't use the car, but something similar. The other one, he says, we can redefine our me. Because if you think about it, if you ever got gangrene of your foot, you might decide to have it amputated to save your life. And then you've redefined yourself as a me with one foot. And if our definition of myself included 2 feet, then when I had one amputated, then I would stop being myself. And that's ridiculous. And he says, see, that's proof that we can redefine ourselves when we need to, when we want to. That we just reject that idea of being personally responsible for the one we're with, or the 10 we're with, or the thousands that we're with, because we don't want to do it. And why we wouldn't want to do it, lots of reasons, right? Lots of seeds inside there. Well, I can't possibly do it, so I'm going to fail. All right, check it off. I won't even try. Oh, it's too big. I don't know. I don't have enough money. Okay, check that one off. I've been stingy that I don't see myself with enough money. Or I have enough money, but I don't want to use it that way. Okay, pride and stinginess. We'll find all of those mental afflictions that we hear are your, right, 10 predominant mental afflictions with the 10 secondaries and etc. we'll meet them as we are investigating what blocks me from doing this level of exchanging self and others, of expanding myself to include others. So in this TongLen practice, TongLen is not about expanding yourself to include others yet. It's about being separate, seeing their distress, being willing to use the breath to hook into their pain and distress. Pretend we can pull it out. Pretend we can use it to destroy our own ignorance. And all that pretending is planting seeds. And those seeds grow. And when we get to Diamond Way, the first half of Diamond Way is about pretending. And all that pretending makes the goodness for the shift to the completion stage practices, that if all the pretending doesn't ripen as the goal, you use the completion stage practices to forcefully bring on the goal. And those forceful methods have to do with using the winds and the drops and the channels, which is what TongLen practice we've been using since Sutra, right? So we're planting seeds with TongLen practice for our Diamond Way practice to come sooner, to be more successful, because we already have the seeds for both the creation stage, the imagination level, and if that doesn't do it, the completion stage level, by using TongLen practice. It's so sneaky, right? Because it's an open practice. And we can benefit from the subtle body work even without knowing the subtle body stuff. But as we understand the subtle body work, it just helps inform our TongLen practice a little bit better. All right. So, oh good, I still have a little bit of time. So we're using TongLen to grow our bodhicitta. Growing bodhicitta requires two necessary precursor states of mind, the Jampa and Ningje. Let me put the share back up. Jampa and Ningje. Geshe-la says Jampa and Ningje are two kinds of love. Usually we say love is love and compassion is compassion, right? Compassion wants to take suffering away and love wants to give happiness. And we make this distinction. But technically, even compassion is a form of love, right? I want your suffering to end. I want you to have happiness. They're both powerful I wants. I want is ignorant version of love. I love. So you flip I want around, right? And it becomes like I give, it becomes outflow. And outflow, right, is what's meant by love, right? I want to give, I want to help, I want to serve, I want to do for you. That's love. So there's these two versions. The Jampa, which in Sanskrit is Maitri, which is Maitreya. His name is love. And then Ningje in Tibetan I'm having a senior moment, which is karuna in Sanskrit. Years ago, when I was studying theosophy, I had a dear friend. She was amazing. Her name was Grace. She was probably 15 or 20 years older than me. And she had a niece who they called Carrie the niece. And then one day she called Carrie, she said Karuna. Carrie's name was Karuna. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, why does some American couple, this lady's son, name their baby girl Sanskrit for compassion? And the son heard the mom use the term because she was a theosophist from way back. And he just liked the sound of it. So here she raises this boy into a young man who names his daughter Compassion. And it's like, wow, that was really cool. Like once I met Karuna, the word was like, she was dead and gone, and I don't even know Carrie anymore. And it's like, Karuna, wait a minute. Anyway, life's like that. So Karuna means compassion, wanting to end someone's suffering. It is a kind of love, Ningje. So if you had a child who's, I don't know, they've got their nasty strep throat, every time they swallow, it's so painful. They've got that 104 fever that goes with it. Child is so upset. They can't really understand what's going on and that they're going to feel better soon. Does mom buy them a new toy to make them happy? No. Mom gets them the, oh my gosh, Tylenol and the antibiotics, right? And the ice cream or something to soothe their sore throat, right? She tries to take their suffering away first. And then maybe buys the new toy, or whatever. There's this argument, does love come first or compassion come first? And it's like, well, wait a minute. If you didn't care one wig about that child, would you bother to give them something to take their pain away? You have to love first in order to have compassion, in order to be able to give them happiness, don't you? So in one level, love comes first. But then in action, compassion comes first. And then love. Which is why ultimately they say, really, they're both forms of love. So in the 7-step cause and effect method, they say compassion comes first. But it's not that the feeling of compassion comes first. The action of compassion comes before the action of love when there's suffering. And there's always suffering, is the thing. Okay. So for us to grow our Ningje, our compassion, we still need to care enough to pay close enough attention to notice somebody's suffering. And typically we grow up being taught that, if somebody has some distress and you can help within your criteria of being able to help, then of course you help. But if you can't help, then we're sort of trained to just look away because it's too painful to be aware of someone's suffering and not be able to do anything about it. And so we hold it at arm's length and just avoid. And then we tend to get busy, as adults, and it's easier to look away and avoid than it is to even stop and see whether we can engage. And so we tend to get into the habit of just not noticing, not being willing to notice somebody's distress. And then we're able to walk past the homeless guy, you know, and we blind ourselves, we protect ourselves because suffering is so huge. It's everywhere. You know, if we walk around with those open hearts, noticing everybody's suffering and not able to do anything about it, like we would break. It's really hard. Beauty of TongLen. We can always TongLen. But it means recognizing that somebody's there, somebody's in pain. And that means willing to look, right? Doesn't mean you have to stop and give them everything in your wallet. You know, maybe you'll be urged, maybe you'll be inspired to do that. But that's not what TongLen is saying to do. In growing our bodhicitta, one of the first steps is being willing to witness somebody else's distress. Care enough to pay close attention. And then maybe just a smile is all that person needs. Just the recognition that they're a person there who's in pain. That they don't need you to do anything more than that. Right? Just a hello. Maybe. Okay. So compassion comes first. Notice and care about their suffering. Then comes the love, which is the loving kindness. Some kind of gesture that reveals you care about them. Small or big. So Len comes before Tong. In TongLen practice, we take their suffering before we give them happiness. All of it as an act of both love and compassion. But first we do the compassion by taking. On the breath, because we're always breathing. So we always can. And that breath has the harmonic resonance with our subtle body that influences our ability to be able to care enough to think to do TongLen the next time around. So every time we try, it gets a little more likely that we'll try again another time. All right, there we go. So I'm going to ask you again, once a day between now and Thursday, TongLen, spend a few minutes TongLenning your future self, not too far ahead, right? But some real circumstance you anticipate happening, and then make a note. Did it ever happen? When it happened, how did it go? Okay. So remember that being we wanted to be able to help. We learn stuff that we will use to help them in that deep and ultimate way. And that's an extraordinary goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And then carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone you love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom, and may it be so. All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.